Hello there guys. Now in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the OpenAI PHP client, which was introduced sometimes back ago. So this OpenAI PHP client, what it enables you to interact with the OpenAI API, which is this one here. So you can see here what we have here within the OpenAI is the models. So these models are AI models that are made, um, like we have different models, and these different models are made to perform different tasks depending on which task, for example, you require. Let's say, for example, we have all the models, for example, here. So we can have a model for generating for you text. That is what we call completions. For example, there's a model which can complete text for you when you give it example various tokens, and then it is able to, for example, to complete a text for you. Then we have also others, for example, for editing. So this model can do what it can do, it can edit for you. For example, if you have a spelling mistake within your paragraph or a sentence, whichever, you can instruct it to fix a spelling mistake and so forth. And you can also give a prompt to create an image within your application. What you just need to do is just to append this particular API, and then you request the particular, you give the prompt and then the size of the image, and then the image will be generated in your website. So this is what you're going to look at in this tutorial. Now, so what you need to do here, you need to get started by installing the OpenAI PHP client that is in Laravel. So we are going to look at this one in Laravel. So here you just need to copy this, and then you just need to come here and install it. Now I already have Laravel installed already, so it's already installed. So the first thing you need to do is just to install Laravel by running the command install Laravel, which should be found on the Laravel website. So this should be here. So installation of Laravel should be this one here. So it's very easy. Just come here, Composer, and then install your Laravel application if you are new to Laravel. And then once you do that, what you need to do, you can see, for example, this is just a snippet of what happens. For example, you can append the model and then the prompt, and then this prompt is able to, you give a particular starting text, and then the model is able to complete for you the given text. And then here you print out the result. Um, and then this is now the completed. PHP is an open source, widely used server-side scripting language. Okay, so guys, so let's begin with this. So the first thing we want us to do is to, as I've said, is to install Laravel. Then the next step here is to come and install the Open PHP client. Now there's also another tool that you're also going to install. So the tool that we're going to install here is this one, Composer require uh, Gazo HTTP and then slash Gazo, like this. Now you need to install this one. So why do you need Gazo HTTP? So Gazo HTTP is a tool that is used for performing HTTP requests within your client uh, application. So we are going to use this one so that we can perform HTTP request on the OpenAI API. And because so basically it is used for API that is generating requests from an API endpoint. So that's why you need Gazo installed. We also have others such as Curl, HTTP Stream, and and others. So here we are going to use Gazo HTTP. So I've already installed it. It is already within my composer JSON. Yeah. So should be here already. So this is the one. So you need to install and then install the Open AI PHP client like that. Now, once that is done, the next thing you need to do is just to generate a controller, of course, because you're going to work with a controller. So we're going to have this command php @ make controller, and then the controller, I'll just call it some controller. I'll not give it a specific name, and then click enter there. So basically now there's a controller which has been created in which you're going to use it so as to perform different HTTP requests within our application. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to perform the completion. So what is our completion? So completion, it creates a completion of a text given a particular prompt. So you give a prompt, you give the maximum tokens. Tokens is, for example, the how much text should it generate for you. The temperature, this one defines the I values. That is, for example, a model can take more risk or less depending on the temperature that you have given. So we have models which within the AI, artificial intelligence, that can take more risk for you, for example, to generate something for you, uh, given that you have that is you have given the right temperature. So that is it. So that is completion. So we are going to perform this one. You're just going to identify the model, we give the prompt, and then the tokens. This temperature you are not going to give it. It's not really necessary here. So here within my Laravel application, what I'll do here, first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to have the public function, and this public function, I'm going to call it send request like this. Now, this error is for what exactly? Okay, so sorry, this is a function, so you should have that. Okay, so there we have. Then the next one is going to be, so here we are going to call the client because we are the client using the Gazo, and then we are going to have new a client from the HTTP, that is from this Gazo, so it will be imported automatically. And then here we need to append those question, those colon. Now the next activity here we're going to have is the response. So we are going to have response, and then it's going to be from the client. Then we're going to perform a post from a given API. So there's an API that you're going to append here. So that API is the one that you're going to use so as to perform this. So here, basically, what you're going to have here is that we're going to have this, and then we are going to have headers. So these headers are going to be, you're going to have the first thing is the content, and then we're going to have application/JSON, and then here we are going to have, so remember these are just the headers that we want to ensure that they are set because you are performing an HTTP request from the given endpoint. And then here, what you're going to have here is something called bearer. And here, you're going to have your API key. So here, you are going to look for an API key that we are going to use to generate within this particular application. The so the key is going to be generated there. Okay, so here you're going to have the bearer. Sorry, this should not should just be that way. And then yeah. So now this is what we have so far. So we have in the content type, the application JSON, and then the authorization, the bearer, and then your API key. So that is what we are having up to that point. Now we are going to generate the API key so that we can use within this application. Now the next activity we are going to do is we are going to have this JSON here, which is going to be this way. We are going to give it a prompt. Don't worry about these errors, they will just disappear as we make the code better. So here I'm going to give a prompt. For example, I'm going to have something like object-oriented programming is. So that is what we're going to have. And then here I'm going to give max. So I'm going to give max tokens. It's going to be 20. And then here I'm going to give model. So the model is the one that I'm accessing. For example, here I'm going to access text DaVinci, and then the model is going to be 002. So we have different models within the OpenAI website. So these ones are the ones that I'm going to access within this application here. So I'm having that one, and then as well here, I'm going to close this one with, so I'm going to have that closing there like that. Okay, so we have this for, should be having another one as well. Okay, so that is what we have in so far. Here I'm going to request an API. So that is what we are going to have there. Okay, so if we save this one, you can see we having this error here. Okay, so guys, so the let's continue. So the error is just here. So this bearer is connected with this API key. So you only need to have this one single colon and then the rest. So now once we reach at this point here, so you get your API key from the OpenAI website. There's a place for API keys. So you just need to come log in, sign up, and then go for the API key. Now next, once we have given the prompt, the tokens, and then the model, the next item is just now to print whatever we have on our browser. So here I'm going to call body, and this body is going to take a response. So here we are going to have response, and then you're going to say get body like this, and then here I'm going to have completions, which equals to JSON. I'm going to decode whatever I'm going to get within JSON format, and then I'm going to have this as return this as body, and then I'm going to set this to be true like that. Okay, so next is so remember now we are returning the completed text. So here I'm going to have the completed text. So I'm going to have something like this underscore, then equals to completions, should be that one. And then here I'm going to give choices, in which the choices will start from 0 and then we'll have text like that. Then lastly, I'm going to return this now so that we can see this within our browser. So we are saying let it return the completed text like that. So we have body and then we have the response. Now here within this response here, it has some. Now here I'm going to give my API key, which I'm going to destroy because I'm not going to hide it. So let me just get the API key. So I've given my API key. So what we are doing now, we are going to give this prompt. We have given this prompt, and then the max tokens is 20, and then the model is text DaVinci 2. Now within my web .php here, I'm going to have a route here. This route is going to perform some basic. Let me just get this. So what we have in here is route, and then we are going to have the get method. Then here I'm going to give a route. For example, I'm going to have something like some route like this, and then here I'm going to give this. So basically what we have here is just a particular route that we have given here within this particular. So I'm just having some route, and then this route is going to go at send request. So at send request, of course, is this one here, so that we can have that is, we are able now to observe this within our browser. So here I'm going to run the PHP artisan serve command. Remember, I have my XAMPP open since I'm using XAMPP. And then here we're going to access this through. So I'm going to have this, and then there's some route here. So this is the route I'm accessing so that you can return for me the. Okay, so there's an error of some sort. Okay, so let's correct this error as we continue. So I did not have this error before. So there's a call error 3. Oh, sorry guys, I realized I did not get the API. That is the API from the OpenAI. We forgot that one. So sorry for that. So this should be the one here. Is the one that I should append here, so that it can now take us to the completion, because we want now to complete a text from OpenAI website. So we should have that. I believe there should not be any other. Yeah, so this is what is going to be returned. So a paradigm seems necessary by developers to architect large solutions. It is often necessary to break a problem. So remember, the text is returned as the object-oriented programming is. Now, if I reload again, it will also give me a different text. Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm that is based on concepts of object, classes, and inheritance. It is just like that. So that is what we have in on the completion. So you can play around with the website and see what you can do more. So the next one I want us to look at is the edit. So let's look at the edit option. Now the next one is list and retrieve models. So list and retrieve models. So how do we list and retrieve a model? For example, let's do the one for, there's this one here. Before we go to the edits, there should be, let's go for the models. I think the model should be the first one. So here we can list all the models that we have within OpenAI API. So I'm going to copy that one as the first one. So I'm going to replace it here like that. Now, these headers, they are necessary because they are the ones that are enabling us to do the HTTP request. Now, here I'm going to remove this, so we don't need this because now what we are doing here, we are performing we want to get all the models. So I'm going to have body response get body like that, and then here I'm going to remove this. Don't need this. This one I'm going to change it to model, and then JSON decode body to be true. Now once I have that one, here I'm going to return this as a response, and then the response here is going to be JSON like that. Then within the JSON here, I'm going to have a model like that, and then I'm going to reference the model. So what I'm doing here, basically I'm returning this in a JSON format. So the code, the body, that is request, the response get the body, and then the body I'm returning it as a JSON format like that. So this is very easy. So basically we're just getting all the models we have. And let me see, there's a client. So the OpenAI models. So this API saying the method is not, sorry, we are not doing a post, we are doing a get because we want to get all the models. Sorry. So that one should be get. So that's why it's not allowing us. It's not callable on which line? This one here. Let me see again. So what we have is return the response, and then the JSON get body, and then we're returning this as true. Okay, guys, I've just discovered a small error here. This one should not be with the dollar sign. It should just be return response, and then so that's why it is giving the error of not the response is not callable. So I believe now it should be callable now. So I believe now it should be. So here it returns for us all the models that we have, and we can examine a model by a model. When you look at the model, the object, and then the list, and then the data. So we have the ID of the model here. The object, of course, is the model, and then created, and then it is owned by OpenAI, and then it has a permission and so forth. So all these are the models that are created by the OpenAI platform. So using this code, you can access all the models that you want to access. That is all the models within the website. Now you can retrieve a specific model within the website. For example, here, to retrieve a specific model, you can come and append, for example, let's say you want to access text Da Vinci 002 like that. So this is now a specific model that I want to access. So here I'm going to return the model. So here I'm going to return the model like that. Then the model JSON decode body true, and then get the body like that. So here I'm going to have this, and then here this is what I'm going to return. So basically when you run this again, you should not be getting those errors again. So here we are returned with one specific model, and it's just as I've shown you from earlier. So we have the model, the object model created, and then it is owned by OpenAI, and then there's a permission that is for you to access that particular model. Now the next activity here is performing the edits. So let's go back to this website again. So here you can also perform edits. So what you can do, you can give a prompt, an instruction, and then the model will return an edited version of the prompt. So what you need to do here is to access this endpoint here. we access that endpoint, we copy and paste it there like that. Then generally, I'm going to give a JSON, a prompt in short. I'm going to give a prompt in JSON form. So here, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to have something like this. So I'm going to have a model, and then I'm going to have text, Da Vinci, edit. So this is 001. And then here I'm going to have input like that. And then now here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give, for example, something like okay, let's just use this one here. So this is the one I just want to use. So I'm going to use that one. So what this one is doing is just basically it's going to identify any spelling mistake. So I'm going to give it an instruction here. The instruction is going to be to identify so I'm going to tell it fix the spelling mistakes like that. So basically that is what it's going to do. So we have given that, and then down here, what we're going to do here, I'm going to have this body, get the body, and then here I'm going to change some things. I'm going to have edit there, which of course is equals to JSON. We're going to decode this one in JSON format. And then here I'm going to have um, we're going to have something like this, edited text, which is equal to edit, and then I'm going to have choices, and then the text, that one, because we are returning. So it's just the same as we did for the earlier one, for the completion. Basically what we have here, I want it to return the edited text here. So it should return the edited text. Yes, so here we have, so it's not identifying this one because we have not given it that way. Then here we need to have this way. So basically it's this, and then it is going to return the edited text. So everything should work. Here there is that comma there. Okay, so let's see this in action. So an error could not resolve the host API. OpenAI v1 edits. I don't know exactly what's the issue. So this API should work. So the issue is the internet. My internet has gone off. So let me just reset it. So my internet is back again. So let's see if that's the issue. I think that should be the issue, of course. So bad request. Get should be get or should be post. Sorry, this is okay. So we are requesting it to fix the model to fix for us the spelling mistake. So that should be a post. So that should be a post request. And of course, that is what will be returned what day of the week. So take note of that week there. It has been corrected by our model because this is what we add. So it is able to know that should be the correct word, the week. And then it returns for you this. Okay, so guys, so the last thing is to look at the images. So that's where we'll reach. So the images here, what you can do, remember we have so many other models which you can do different activities. So let's look at the one for image. So you can also generate image using this endpoint, and I've been forgetting to read. So this should be post. So this should be post. So there should be like that. So we perform the post there. So we are going to generate an image given a prompt. So we are going to have a prompt and then an image. So here we are going to have, so what you can do here, so the prompt, of course, is the text description of the desired image. Then the N represent the number of images to generate. So here I'm going to give 2, and then the size of the generated image you can give. So these are the ones that the OpenAI uh, has recommended. Not recommended, but it has to be, it is a must for you to give only these specific sizes. So let's begin with the first one. So I'm going to generate this image here. Remember, you can give any text description of whichever image you want to be generated. So mine, I'm going to give this, and then I'm going to also to take this too. And then here, I'm going to paste that. So what I'm going to change here is this. So that's what I'm going to change. So, and then the size. Now here, I'm going to add something here. Since I'm using, I'm going to add response, and then the format, I want it to return this as the URL. So I want this to return this as a URL like that. So this is what we are having. Let me put this as the quotations. So this is this, and then this is that. So you're going to have that. Now, for me to be able to return this image within my application, there are different ways in which you can do it. And within my PHP, there's a way I'm going to do it. So let me take this one out. So I'm going to have a response, and then the response is going to take response data. And then I'm going to return a JSON, the code, and then I'll return the image as string. Then response, I'm going to get, sorry, this should be, so I'm going to get the body like that, and then I'm going to set it to be true that way. So we are returning the string, and of course here we need to have this like this. And then remember, I've given, the reason as I'm having this code is because I've given this image to be returned as a URL, of course. So what we are doing here, we are just giving the response data to decode this, whatever is going to be formed here as a string, and then get the body, set it to be true. So here we are not using any okay, we're using the JSON, but to format it to be a string, not now in the JSON way. So here we're going to have the image, and then here we're going to have the, sorry, we're going to have URLs, and then this URL we're going to append it to an empty array like this. Then here I'm going to use a for each. So this for each, what it's going to do here is going to take the response data. So it should be that one there. And then it's going to have the data is like that. And then you're going to have the, sorry, you're going to have the return the image URLs in that way. And then basically here we are going to have data into URL in such a way, because we want the format to be returned in URL format way. So here I'm going to return this image URLs, then in such a format. So the image URLs here is going to have, sorry, this should be equal sign. So this is equal to, so response data, the code, JSON decode the image in string format, and then this one is going to receive the image URL, So we have appended it as an empty array. So we are using the for each so as to loop over the particular data and then store this one in this variable here, which is down this data here. Then the image URL are going to be equal to the stored images that have been generated by this for each loop and this response data. And then you are now going to return the images URL. So if everything goes well, this should be able to work. So what we are going to have here, let's just see. I don't know why we keep getting these errors. So the client posts bad request. So what we have in here is I think we return this as post. Okay, so this is what we have. See. Okay, so so I've just noticed here on the model. That's why I've just checked and saw that saying prompt is a required property. So it means we never gave a prompt here because it is a prompt, not a model. So I don't know how I forgot this one. But anyway, this should work. There's no any other error. There's no any other error. So okay, so now this is the generated image, and this image we have generated the URL of the particular image. Now for you to be able to, so one of the ways you can view this image is copying the URL and then taking this URL on a browser here and pasting here, and then the image will be automatically generated. Now there's another way you can do this. You can use so what I used is the HTML tag to take the URL of that image and be able to append it within an HTML tag. So this is what I did. So what I did here, I just copied this image. I just copied the URL. So the URL starts from this one up to the end of up to this part 3D. So you can just check the image should end up to that part. So copying this particular URL here. Yes, this 3D up to here. So this is where the image ends, up to here. So this is the URL. In other words, from there up to there. So this is what I did. So I appended it on an img source with that is, it should be an HTML tag here. So that now when I click this one here, this link here, it should take me to the image. So the file does not have to. Okay, so what we can do, let me copy it from there. So now what you can do here, so what I did here is I've just explained. So I just took this URL and then I'm able to I was able to copy the URL. So I've copied up to this part here. So I've copied up to the part that ends with YF0. So the YF0, so this should be, so basically this should be the URL of your image. Should be the URL of your image up to where we have the YF0. And okay, so once you copy the URL, what you need to do, okay, these are two, so up to this part here, and then copy this up to this part here, which is this part up to this part here. So what I'll do, so I copied this one, I reformatted it into an HTML form, and then I've clicked the control click So the control click will generate for me the image of the particular prompt that I'd given, a cute baby sea otter. So this is what I'm able to get as my final image from OpenAI. Now guys, this tutorial, we might have had errors here and there, but the reason as to why these are also a new concept that has just been introduced, because when you look at the GitHub here, you get to realize that actually this is Open AI PHP client, which is even in its first version, which has just been introduced. And remember, you need to have PHP 8.1 for you to be able to work, so that for this client, that is OpenAI PHP client, for it to be able to work. So you need that. Now you can also do other different requests. For example, files resource. You can return list of files that belong to a user's organization. You can retrieve a specific file. For example, you can upload a file that contains a document to be used across various endpoints. Uh, you can also fine-tune resources. For example, create a job that fine-tunes a specified model from a given data set, and then so many others. So my purpose here is just to lay the starting point for you to be able to work with OpenAI within your Laravel application. So if you have any question, please post them in the comment box down there, and I'll be sure up to follow with you. Yeah, so let's meet in the next video.